Thank you so much for joining me for today's lecture. Today, we are going to look into regulatory project management. And we are going to work or talk about the elements of a Gantt chart for preparing a new drug submission for Health Canada in CTD format. CTD standing for Common Technical Document. But before talking about the project management, let me talk about the common technical documents, because this is the one which is very important to go over. So when you would like to prepare a new drug submission for the registration of your drug or a vaccine, you will need to go to Health Canada website. You're going to open the guidance document that you have here in front of you for the preparation of regulatory activities in the electronic common technical document ECTD format. You already know that the difference between the CTD and ECTD is that the CTD has 5 modules, and again in Canada still we are using the for example for the clinical trial applications for example small companies, we are still working on the CTD. So this is the electronic format, which is it is our PDFs, and it has 5 modules. If you would like to convert CTD to ECTD, then we are going to use a software. I would say yes, a software that we call commonly the electronic common technical, ECTD or electrical common technical document builder. And that ECTD builder, it can be made in-house in a company by their IT team. You can also purchase softwares online or use the softwares online. These are all ECTD builders, where what they do is that you're going to create an index of all of the files and the folders in your CTD. And of course, they are also going to add making minor modifications on the files themselves, because we need to keep always track of all of the files that we are submitting to Health Canada, and we need to have what we call a file history. It means that you can have the same exact file with the same name, but this file can be changed over time. So we are going to have versions based on the time of the preparation of or saving of that file, and the ECTD builder is going to make it automatically behind the scenes. So for a regulatory affairs professional, we just do care about preparation of the documents as well as updating the documents. The first CTD or ECTD that we submit to Health Canada, it's going to be a big file, because it's going to contain all of the files that we are using in order to show the efficacy, safety, and quality of our product or drug. However, we will make some notifications, we are going to make some amendments, some changes, and in this case, when we are going to submit our, again, ECTD, then the second time, the third time, the 100th time, we are going to again use the format of the ECTD, but we will only submit the files that have been modified. We don't submit all of the files that we did send in the first original ECTD. So when you are going to look into the document from Health Canada, I'm going to, I'm not going to read, I'm going to invite you to read, of course. I'm just going to go to page 14 of this document, because this is the one that I would like to talk about. So in page 14 of a document here, we are talking about the structures. So here you can see the, again, ECTD. Okay, so the name of the folder here for us is E123456. Inside, this is for the drug. Okay, so we call that a top level folder. Then we will have a folder. This folder is the main folder that we are going to work in, and this folder that we call 0000 for the first time, because it will change with the amendments, it will be 0001, 02, 03. This folder has several modules. So we see here this folder or module 1, it has Canada in it. This Canada is a regional folder. We all know that in the format of the CTD, we have 5 modules. Module 1 is for the administration or regional files. Module 2, 3, 4, and 5, they are going to be for, of course, the summary. Module 2, Module 3 is for the quality. Module 4 is for animal or preclinical studies. And Module 5 is for clinical studies. So we do have exactly the same structure for Module 2 to Module 5. This is as per ICH-M 4. However, the structure and the content in Module 1 in the submodule Canada or CA is going to depend on what Health Canada needs. That's why when you are going to prepare a new drug submission, you know that Module 2 through 5 are the same as if you want to send the same thing to the States or to EMA. However, for the folder related to Canada, no, this time you will have a folder called Canada, and in the folder Canada, you do have another a different set of submodules or subfolders. You can also have the same for US. In this case, we will call the another subfolder US, and we are going to add the structure for regional folder or module 1 that we take from FDA. So the structure and the content in module A for Canada is different from FDA, from EMA, or from any other country following the ICH guidelines. This is why we talk about a regional folder. So we are going to look into a new drug submission structure today, and this is why I'm going to show you the structure module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of course, but mainly module 1, which is related to the application new drug submission for Canada. So of course we can always continue with the structure of the CTD, and we see that, okay, in module 1, for example, we are going to have several I can call them folders, but I can also call them modules. So you have folders and subfolders, or we can call them modules and submodules. Of course, here we see that the way that we are going to use the terminology, we are going to talk about heading element, we can talk about subheading elements, we can talk about leaf elements. Leaf elements, these are the files that you are going to add into each relevant submodule or subfolder, and you have leaf titles. What is that exactly? This means that as per ICH-M 4, we have to choose and use exactly the same names for the modules, submodules, and for each and every document that we are going to add into our CTD submission. So for Health Canada, for example, again for module 1, but also for other modules, there is a specific requirement by ICH-M 4 for module 2 to 5, but also by Health Canada for module 1, in order to use specific terms, specific names for the higher element, heading element, sorry, for subheading element, for leaf elements, and of course we talk about leaf titles. This is what I'm going to, of course, show you now. So based on what we are seeing here, I'm going now to show you the structure of the CTD that we need to, of course, work with. So as you see here, you have modules, okay? You have the 000. The 00 folder here is what you see on the top left of the screen, okay? And when you open this this module, of course, or this folder, you're going to see different I would say modules, module 1, module 2, module 3. I would like to go over this one because, okay, it's much easier for us to follow. So for M1, we have Canada. In the real world, you have this, when you open your CTD, you will see the structure that I'm showing you on the top. You're going to open M1, sorry, and you see that in module 1, you have the folder or the submodule Canada. This is exactly what you have here, and this is document from Health Canada. Health Canada wants us to use exactly the structure of the submodules that Health Canada wants, and of course the naming as well. There's a naming convention. So when I opened Canada, you don't have all of these documents one after the other one. There is a structure here. There is a structure for the sub-modules. So when I open, and again, this is the real backbone of the CTD, you see that when you open the Canada folder, you will see this structure. This is exactly what Health Canada wants us to have. So when you open the first one, of course, here is a folder. We have to add the table of content in this folder. Now you may say, can we see the table of content? Obviously, I'm going to show you even now what is the table of content. It's just to show you. So we are looking into table of content. Table of content is here. I just opened the table of content for you. And you see that, perfect. I'm also going now to go back to the structure. On the top left, you have the folder 0. Then here you do have the module M1. And in Canada, I opened the table of content. So in the table of content, module 1, submodule 1, you have a document that is called TOC, or table of contents. In the table of contents for module 1, that we put this table of content in PDF format in the module 1.1, we see this content. So on the top, of course, I just gave you an example of a table of contents. Pay attention to the format of all of your documents that you will have to prepare in your CTD structure. All of your documents, it must have a header and obviously a footer if you have more than 2 or 3 pages. So we put the page number. But on the top, we have to make sure that on the top of each and every of the documents that we are going to prepare, not the forms, because forms, we cannot add these headers. We need to put new drug submission, and then to write here the name of the generic name, of course, or the proprietary name of the drug, and then you can put the name of your pharmaceutical company. In some submissions, it's okay, we don't put it. So this is, again, based on the standard operating procedures of each company. But you need to have these 2 titles, so these 2, I would say, statements. One is new drug submission, and one is the name of your product. And then don't forget, you need to have absolutely this component in the header. Here we are in module 1, submodule 1. This is table of contents. So we have to make sure that this information is the correct one in the header. And this is the case for all of the information. Now, you may say, okay, what we are going to do exactly? In module 1.1, we are going to add this information related to all of the documents that we are going to prepare. And then in module 1.2, we are talking about 1.22, which is the drug substance. This is the placeholder for completing the form Health Canada HSC 3011. Don't forget that for HSC form 3011, we don't complete that anymore in CTD. But for the, I would say for the clarity, I am talking about the fact that yes, we complete the form HSC or HCSC 3011 of Health Canada, and we put that in this module. And then we can look into the submission fee applications. We can look into the patent information, for example. And then we'll be able to look into the, for example, GMP establishment license, the letter of access, etc., etc. I think that there is some error here, but it's okay. You understand? I think that this should be again 1, 2. Let me see that one. Yes, 1.3. Okay, here there is some discrepancy. It's okay. I just want to use this table of content because this is just an example. Usually we use this. So the structure, the right structure is here. So here I'm just using this in order to go over what you have to add in those subfolders or submodules. So you see that I'm just going to now close this document, and I'm going to go over the structure. So when we look into the structure, we understand that we have to put the table of content in this module or submodule, we need to put different types of documents within these submodules. So here we have to put the submission fee application form. It goes here in this submodule. We have to prepare the submission certification form. We add it here. Same thing applies to preparation of the patent information form 4 or 5, GMP establishment license, letter of access, international registration status, other applications, etc. So in a nutshell, we need to prepare these documents and then to put them in the specific sub-modules or sub-modules. And the same thing applies to Module 2, Module 3, Module 4, Module 5, and of course util is because this is another folder that is added into the CTD once it is converted to an eCTD. So here we are looking into an eCTD submission, but what I'm showing you here, which is very similar, is the CTD format, so Module 1 through Module 5. So now you understand that for preparing of all of the contents in all of these modules and submodules, we need in fact to have a project. So the topic of today's talk, of course, is about the elements of a Gantt chart, where we are going to write down in a again in a type of dashboard or a presentation or a table. We are going to write down what are the tasks associated with the preparation of a new drug submission. So let's go over the, let me also show this here so that you will be able to see all of the modules as well. Sorry, I'm just going to make it so that you okay, perfect. So now you're able to see both the modules and of course the content, because I just want to make sure that we know exactly what we are doing. Okay, perfect. So now we are going to look into what we are going to do. First of all, we will have a phase, we call that project initiation. This is the project for writing or preparing a new drug submission in CTD, and then of course converting that into eCTD format and to submit that to Health Canada. So for that, we need to have several tasks. One of the tasks in the project initiation is to define the project scope, what is in, and the objectives. Another task is to identify stakeholders. What are the departments who are that are going to work in this task. Then we are going to assign project team roles and responsibilities. You see, this is not done in a day. We have to first, of course, define the project. We have to make some documents, make the project happening, having, of course, the I would say upper management sponsor for the project. Anyways, going over all of the paperwork needed for creating a project. And then we will need now to look into assigning people to different tasks. So when we look into a task, we see that, of course, these tasks, they take time. They need, of course, that we go and talk with different people in different departments. You have to talk with some VPs, some managers, some directors, and to see who are the employees, who are the experts, who can help or who can do the job. We can also even assign some jobs to consultants. We may now think about hiring some consultants who are subject matter experts. So these are all sub-tasks of assigning project team roles and responsibilities. Then we will need to create and develop a project plan and timeline. This is exactly what I'm going to show you in the next page, I would say next page, in 2 pages, where we are going to look into timelines. These timelines are not written in the stone, but we need to have a timeline in the project so that we are going to stick to that timeline. Of course, we may complete the project sooner or sometimes later than when it should be ended, and we don't want this to happen. We want the project to be on time, within the budget, within the resources, and of course with the highest quality. Then we are going to have a kickoff meeting to review the project plan and timelines. For example, again, today we are also, I would say, our conversation is very similar to a kickoff meeting where we talk about what is the project, what is in the project, and then we explain again the project itself. We explain the tasks, the timelines. Then we are going to set again teams, team leaders, etc. And then we are going to set a timeline to say, look, each team will need to do what type of I would say tasks, and when those tasks must be ended. Then we get the buy-in from managers, from directors, and then we are going to start the project. Now, the second milestone in the preparation of the new drug submission is the regulatory requirements and planning. Again, I put here an estimate time of 2 months. It will depend on the number of your employees or subject matter experts and the level of knowledge as well. Sometimes we may not have the expertise, so we have, as I already mentioned, we will need to hire consultants who are going to accelerate some tasks, like such as writing a review for the pharmacology for a drug, for example. Then we have to conduct a review of Health Canada regulatory requirements for the ECTD. At the beginning of this lecture, I referred to the Health Canada guidelines, and I went just over the pages 14 and 15. However, we need to always check, because sometimes it happens that some forms are changed, some deadlines are changed, some requirements from Health Canada are changed. So we are going to look into if there is any change in the regulatory requirements, and we will also need to inform the team member, because some people, they may be new, some may be working in another project as well, they have to adjust their time. So we have to be very transparent and look into the regulatory requirements of Health Canada in this case. Then we are going to develop a regulatory plan and timeline for the ECT submission. We are going to write a grid or a table, and we are going to say, okay, for these tasks, we are having how many tasks, how many documents. Now we are going to have how many people, which person is going to work on which task, and how long it may take. This is exactly what we use, and we add into a Gantt chart in the project management. And we are going to assign, of course, a project leader or the project manager who is going to deal with the timelines and making sure that each and every task is completed on time. Then we have to go identify required documents and information to be included in the ECTD. The third milestone in the preparation of new drug submission in CTD format for Health Canada is to prepare the documents. This is where we need usually up to 3, 4, 5 people in order to prepare those documents, more than 600-700 documents, hundreds of forms. And of course, it will depend on obviously the number of your animal or preclinical trials and clinical trials, where you may always have a minimum, for example, for the human subjects, 1,800 subjects, but in some studies we are having 8,000-10,000 subjects. I saw studies where we have 40,000 subjects as well, and in this case it will take more time for the preparation of module 5 for the clinical trials, and obviously for the preparation of module 4 for animal trials. But overall, I would say that the duration is 8 months if we are dealing with 4 or 5 clinical trials and about maybe 10 animal studies. Then we will need to collect and organize the data from all sources. So regulatory affairs professionals are those who do know very well about the content that they are going to work with. But usually we have people who are, again, good, they have the expertise in, again, writing the files related to the safety or to the quality or to the efficacy. This is why we need to, of course, have people, we need to have expertise in the team, and this is why we will need to have people who can collect and organize the data from all types of sources. Okay, you have sources that are internal, from the research and development, from animal research, from again, sales and marketing, because you do have some information that you need also to get from sales and marketing. You have information outside, so you also need to do research. You're going to look into different databases like Ovid, for example, and or PubMed. We also need information from PubChem, sometimes from the Orange Book. We do have several sources, but we need first to know in advance how long does it take and what are those sources. We prepare them, we organize them, and then we are going to start using them for writing all of the regulatory files that we are going to add into our new drug submission. So then we need to prepare the quality overall summary document, or QOS. The QOS goes to module 2, and this is based on the chemistry and manufacturing and control, or CMC document, that we use in order to prepare module 3. So this is not just the chemistry, but it's based on, I would say, at 80% on the chemistry of the product that we are making. And then we have to write and format the clinical study reports. Study reports, again, are reports that are written based on the results that we get from clinical trials. And those clinical trials, of course, they may be, we may have one center, two centers, several centers. They may be international, of course, multinational as well. And we will have to, of course, prepare those study reports as well. So they ask, of course, they need statistical analysis. They need also to have scientific reviewers. Internally, of course, they're going to review the content, because at the end of the day, we would like to use these clinical trial summary reports or study reports in order to show the safety and efficacy of our products. And we put all of the information in module 5. Then we need to develop the drug product information, including labeling and packaging information. Then we need to prepare any additional regulatory document required by Health Canada. And then the fourth milestone is the ECTD. So we are going to compile the ECTD. It will take up to 4 months. What we do is that we are going to use in an ECTD builder as well, we are going to use exactly what I'm showing you here on the top left side of the screen, where we are going to have, for example, module 1, we open this one, we are going to prepare a document, we drag and drop it here. Then for the application information, we are now going to, again, prepare the information, the document, drag and drop it here. So each and every of these folders, or I would say now sub-modules, they need to have an information whenever applicable. And this is what we do. And when we are talking about, I would say, the compilation, we are talking about preparation of documents, and then to add each and every of those documents in a specific subfolder. This is what I'm showing you. So your job is, again, to do exactly what I'm doing. You open, again, module 2, you open the introduction, and you're going to add here in this space the document, or you're going to go to, for example, module 4, and you're going to add something for the study report, for the pharmacology, for the pharmacodynamics, and you're going to add here the document that you prepared, and you're going to drag and drop it here. This is exactly what we do in an ECTD builder. Now the ECTD builder has usually a very similar interface, because this is much easier. Of course, I'm not going to go into details of how this ECTD builder works, because it's a little bit more complex. Each time that you're going to add a leaf or a document, the previous document is not going to be removed from your CTD, I would say your archive, but the newest or the latest document is going to replace the previous document. So as I already mentioned, when you have a second or third or even 10th, I would say, change in your CTD, chromatic document, here you are going to, of course, change the number, and you're not going to submit exactly the same files, only updated files that will be recognized by your ECTD builder are going to be added into your ECTD that you can then submit to Health Canada online, of course. So now coming back to the again, the milestones. Here we talk about the conversion of documents to electronic format. Obviously, it's not just electronic. We usually now are using or receiving information in electronic format, but if not, you will have to scan, you will have to add the scan. Sometimes you have reports that are in writing, for example. Okay, you are going to make them electronic, but mainly don't forget that all of the documents that we are having in again in the ECTD, they must be in PDF format. And when we are converting the documents, like Word documents, into PDF, there's always a risk to lose some special characters, some mathematical characters as well. So it's imperative we have to convert our documents, our final submission documents, into PDF, and then we have to review the entire document so that we are going to make sure that there is no character that has been removed because of the conversion to PDF. And this is again what we call, again, validation of the content. Then we're going to validate the ECTD using Health Canada ECTD validation tool. Here, this is when you are going to submit that to Health Canada on a Canada web page. There is a website, there is a site, of course, where we'll be able to submit our ECTD, so with all of the modules. So this is the 000 that I'm showing you here. So this one you're going to submit that with the util. Don't forget, this is the ECTD structure. Of course, there's something missing here. You need to have two files as well. One of them is index.xml, which is the index of all of the documents in each and every folder and subfolder, or module and submodule, and then we are going to validate it on Health Canada website. So once it is validated, now we know that this is in compliance with Health Canada technical requirements. That's because Health Canada is going to receive your ECTD structure, and it's now going to read it. There's a database as well, or there's a system in Health Canada where it's going to open first your XML or your index.xml file. And it's going to look into all of the existing folders, all of the folders that are empty, or folders where there is a document, and it's also going to look into what are those documents. And based on that, again, the system in Health Canada will be able to now submit specific documents to specific scientific reviewers. So we do have, again, scientific reviewers who are going to receive only Module 2. So all of the Module 2 or Module 2 and Submodule 2 documents are going to be forwarded to a subject matter expert in Health Canada who is going to review the content. The same thing applies to other modules as well. This is why we need to validate the ECTD, and we will need now to submit our ECTD with all of the documents that we have. And then don't forget that then we are now reaching the milestone number 5, which is the submission preparation, which is 2 months. So we compiled the ECTD submission package, which is the ECTD, of course. We complete all of the required submission forms. For example, form HSC or HCHC 3011, but there are 100 other forms that we have to fill out. Don't forget, and we don't forget, of course, the fee form, because it's also for the payment of the fee for reviewing the submission. Then we verify that all information is accurate and complete. This is where we have to look into the information about us, about any consultant who is working on any of these files, for example. We have to make sure that we are adding all of the information for the company, for people, for the again, the fax numbers, for the emails, etc. So making sure that there is no error. And then we are going to look into the next milestone, submission and review. So the submission and review, we submit the ECTD to Health Canada using the Common Technical Electronic Submission Gateway, or CESG. So based on that, we are going to wait about, of course, we are going to receive some information, I would say some update from Health Canada to say that our submission is accepted, because they also look into the integrity of our submission, and if there are all of the files that are necessary are there. And then it's going to start a review process. The review process is usually up to 1 year. So here we are talking about 10 months. I put that here as well. So it's a duration of 10 months during which Health Canada is going to review your, again, ECTD, your new drug submission in ECTD format. And then the company, of course, has to monitor the status of the submission and respond to any request for additional information. Because Health Canada can at any time send you a Clarifax, for example, a request for clarification. They can also send you, again, maybe send you requests in order to for example, give more explanation, or maybe asking you that you should also add some type of animal trials, or something is missing. But usually it happens during the review, and Health Canada will also give you enough time in order to prepare those information, unless the information is so important that in this case we may have to stop the clock, because your application doesn't pass because of maybe a major issue, for example. And then we need to coordinate with Health Canada to resolve any issue and ensure a timely review. We know that we would like to make this happen, okay, going to the market. So we need to prepare the exact perfect documents from the first, for the first try. And then we also need to review each and every document, especially documents are also converted to PDF. We have to make sure that PDFs, if they are long, they also have bookmarks in them. It's also for making it easier for reviewers to review the documents, the content of the document, the font of the document, the I would say the indentation, they must be all consistent in between each other, so that we are not going to again have, for example, typos or errors, or again a document that doesn't open. Okay, these things are not acceptable when we are, of course, talking and with again dealing with Health Canada, because we are looking into the submission of our drug. We don't want to have any delay. And then we have for the seventh, I would say the seventh milestone, approval and post-approval maintenance. So here, it's not just 2 months, but this is just after the approval. Health Canada may still give us a conditional notice of compliance. In this case, we still need to prepare some documents. We know that our product is going to be approved, but there are conditions. So we have up to, I would say, about 2 months in order to, if applicable, of course, to send Health Canada any outstanding or any missing document, so that we are going to have our full notice of compliance, or NOC. And then we receive the approval from Health Canada for the ECD submission. This we do that, and then we prepare and submit post-approval maintenance documents as required. This is when we are having again notifiable changes. So we continuously connect, of course, communicate with Health Canada, and when we are submitting again those informations, we are going to use the, not for all of the submissions, but for the new drug submission, for example, or abbreviated new drug submission, we are going to use the CTD format. Now, comparing with the USA, for example, obviously FDA did expand already the use of the ECTD structure to, for example, the drug master file as well, for the biologics as well, and they are expanding more and more. So we can see that in the future, in the next 5 to 10 years, of course, hopefully we are going to use this harmonized way of submitting our documents to regulatory authorities. Now, if you would like to look at the Gantt chart, this is, of course, I didn't create a Gantt chart here. You can easily make one. You have also online tools, but in a Gantt chart, we need to have these elements. We need to know about the task, what's the task, the duration, the start date, and the end date. Obviously, we can also have, I would say, subtasks. Here we can talk about the milestones here, so each milestone can have different subtasks. And then when we talk about the duration of the milestone, each subtask is going to, of course, have a shorter duration, and they may start exactly when the milestone started, or they can start in the middle, or anyways, any time in between the end and start date and end date of a milestone. So here I just gave you an example of the project initiation. It would take, for example, 1 month. The regulatory requirements and planning, it would be 2 months. Document preparation would be 8 months. Compilation of ECTD 4 months. Submission preparation 2 months. And then review, of course, is by Health Canada, about 10 months. And then approval and post-approval maintenance for 2 months. So this is, in a nutshell, all of the elements that you needed in order to prepare here. These are the milestones for preparing a Gantt chart in order to prepare not you, but a team of sometimes 50 people, 60 people who are involved in the preparation of documents that we have to prepare for, again, the preparation of a new drug submission. Now, let me go over, again, another topic which is very important, and this is related to the documents. Okay, so you may say, okay, perfect, we understood that we are now again, we know about the milestone, we know about the project, and we now know about, again, what we are going to do. Now, let us know about what is in exactly. Let's go much more deeper into details. First of all, make sure that all of your documents are well formed. So on the top, they all have a header. And the header is having minimum, of course, over here, it should be a new drug submission. Of course, it should have a new drug submission, and then, again, the name of the drug. And then on the right side, the exact name and the number of the submodule in which this document must be added to. And then I already covered the example of tasks. Here, for example, I'm going to now show you a very interesting link to FDA website. So in order to go and access documents for a drug, here, for example, I'm using Ozempic. I am using an already existing, so public information. What I do is that I went to drugs at FDA. I went to the search engine and I searched for a drug. I searched for Ozempic. And then I ended up finding out all of the information related to the approval of Ozempic. So now here I can look into the approval letter. I can access the printed labeling, because the printed label that you see here is the label that has been submitted through the new drug submission here. Oh, sorry, here we talk about FDA. This has been submitted through new drug application in eCTD format. So if I would like to redo, for example, this, I would say using this information for the submission to Health Canada, obviously I'm going to look into this document as well. And obviously, of course, this document may also have been updated, but this is one of the source of the documents that can be used in order to prepare a new drug submission for Canada. Imagine that we don't have Ozempic. I mean, we have Ozempic in the US, but we don't have it in Canada. Of course, we have it now, but in 2017, for example, we have been waiting for this product to be also marketed in Canada. But when we were preparing the new drug submission, so for the Canadian registration, we were definitely using this document that was coming from the published and publicly available information from FDA. So now that we have this, I'm now going to close this. Let me just close that. Perfect. Okay. And now I'm coming back to FDA. Let me just, I think I lost my FDA, which is okay. I can, here, okay, perfect. Okay, I can come here again. I can just use it here. So I put just Ozempic, and then I'm going to have access to Ozempic files. Now I'm going to click on approval history, etc. And then it's going to show me the label and the letter. And here, of course, I can look into different documents that I can access from here. So here, as you can see, you can again find different information related to the Ozempic. And now, if you would like to have access to, for example, again, animal data or clinical trial data, or related to, for example, let me just close this one as well. I have to have this one. Perfect. Okay. So in this case, you can easily just find the information that is available in FDA website. So coming back again here, you can access to the printed label, to summary review, officer employee list. But look, you have medical review, you have chemistry review. So for the chemistry review, that's an information that we can use in order to rewrite, if you would like to, the CMC or the QoS for module 2 or CMC for module 3. So the information is already there. This is the source documents for us. These are reviews, but these are reviews of documents already submitted by Novo Nordisk to FDA. The same thing to pharmacology. For the pharmacology, for example, we may look into pharmacological studies in animals and in humans as well. We also have clinical pharmacology and biopharmaceutical or biopharmaceutics review. We have risk assessment and mitigation, again, strategy or reviews as well. So we do have, and again, what I was sharing with you here, the link, you can always find that from, so I have just to close that one. You can find this link by looking into, of course, the the link that I already provided with you. If not, you can always go to any search engine and search for, again, the FDA database. By opening the FDA database, you're going to search for the drug, and you're going to be able to access all of the review, I would say the documents that FDA did prepare for the review of different modules in the ECTD, in the new drug application that the company did submit to FDA. Now, if you would like to prepare a new drug submission for Health Canada, obviously we can use in part, we can use the documents that we can find from the FDA website as well. Perfect. So in a nutshell, that was what we needed to go over. I'm just going to make sure that we covered everything. Yes, so we covered today we talked about, of course, the new drug submission. In Health Canada, we talked about the structure of the new drug submission in CTD format. We also looked into the CTD format itself, and then we looked into different modules. And then, of course, I showed you, I didn't went over yet, of course, but I showed you, of course, examples of different files that we prepare for our new drug submission. And I, of course, showed you also the database that we can use for the drugs that are approved in the USA, and this is again public information that we can use as well. I also talk about a table of content. I'm going to, of course, to again reiterate that for table of contents, we are going to have the content of each module. For example, here we have it's another table of content. Okay, so here, for example, you can see table of content here. For example, this is again we are going to add in module 1 submodule 2 the application information. This is what we need to add. Then for the product label, this all of the information will go to this submodule. So in module 1 submodule 3 submodule 1, we are going to add the product monograph. In module now 132, we add the inner and outer labels. In module 133, we put non-Canadian package inserts. This information, we can find them again on public websites. The other website where we can find also the product monograph, American one, of course, not that we call that a product label, but in the Canada we call that product monograph, is to go to Daily Med website, which is maintained by FDA, and we can easily find the American product monograph. We can also go to a Health Canada website and find different monographs for products that are in Canada. For the inner and outer labels, again, we can look into the inner and outer labels of a product by going to Daily Med website in the US for the US registered drug. For Health Canada, of course, we can always look into the inner and outer labels through the again search engines as well, or of course using Health Canada website. So in a nutshell, we just had a type of introduction to the preparation of the new drug submission in CTD format, but mainly we wanted to go over again our file, which is again mainly not this one. I have to close this one. Perfect. So we wanted to go over the regulatory project management, and so I hope that you enjoyed again today's lecture. I hope that it was clarifying, of course, all of the tasks that are involved, and of course giving you some ideas related to the timelines that we have to set in advance when we are going to prepare our Gantt chart. So thank you so very much. I hope that you are going to have a great day. Thank you.